You're rocking with the best. Thoughts of the week. Let's go. What's good, everybody? Welcome to Thoughts of the Week. And today on this podcast, we're going to continue on with the personal protection, self-defense questions. And this question that I'm going to respond to is, what is one of the best martial arts that can be used against multiple attackers? All right. That's the question for this Thoughts of the Week episode. And you guys just kick back, relax, listen to my response to this question, and I'll get back with you guys on the other side. All right, let's go. What is one of the best martial arts that can be used against multiple attackers? All right, that question, we're going to break down that question and give you a good answer for that. All right. So it says, what is one of the best? First of all, there is no best martial art that you can use against multiple attackers, all right? So let's scratch the best out. So the question again is, what is one of the best martial arts that can be used against multiple attackers? So again, like I said, there's no such thing in my book as a best martial art to deal with more than one person. You just have to be, to some degrees, you got to be creative. All right. You also, again, you got to learn about the body and where to strike, because that's going to be important when you're dealing with more than one person. You got to know how to strike a person to where it's very beneficial, because you're dealing with more than one person now. We don't know if it's you against two, you against three, you against four, you against five. If you're going to be outside in the environment, you got to understand about how to use the environment to your advantage. All right. So I wouldn't even look at a best martial art. I would look at what I'm saying. Learning about the environment, you're going to probably have to think on your feet. You got to think quickly, and you got to learn how to use, the environment to your advantage. And I'm going to give you an example. Okay. You're in a parking lot and 3 or 4 people fighting on you, you're moving back, you're trying to figure this thing out, and you're in a parking lot. You're in an area where there's parking lots, so there's going to be cars. So again, when I said you got to learn how to use the environment to your advantage, and you got to learn how to think on your feet, well, you know that all four people, even if it's 2, they can't fit in between cars. So you might have to put yourself in between cars, and then that'll draw some people in. Yeah, you're going to have a couple of guys, or maybe all of them, are going to try to come in between these cars, but then they're not going to be all able to hit you. Now, some might come around, and some might get on top of a car, maybe. If they have any respect, they probably won't, but some might not care, and they might get on top of the car, while some are on top, some are coming in between to try to attack you. But you can use those to your advantage, because the person standing on the car, it's probably going to be easier to grab a foot or a leg from them, take them off balance because they're higher up. And if you pull them off real hard, or you throw them off real hard off balance, they're going to hit something hard, or they're going to fall in such a way, hopefully, that they'll get hurt real serious. And then you have to deal with the other ones. And like I said, coming in between the car, you can kind of deal with people as they come. And so again, you can use the vehicles that you're in between as your weapons of opportunity. All right. You can grab one and start smashing their head into the car. All right. You can use the advantage, because there's an advantages and disadvantages. You can use the advantage of how small a space it is between going in between cars. So now it's hard for people to do wide swinging. So you got to deal with that environment that you got to be in. And if you learn how to fight in small spaces, then you can fight anywhere pretty much, because you already have that advantage of fighting in smaller areas, so you know how to move your body and turn your body and grab and this and that from being in small areas. So I would say even practice with somebody, just even a light practice, just fighting in between cars. It doesn't have to be a full blown swing in and out. Just learn how to manipulate, how to turn people around in a small area, how to grab somebody and shift them from one side of the car to the next. All right. How to slam their leg or something, or if you happen to be on your knees in between the cars and the person standing up and they try to kick, there's so many ways they can kick. They can't do a lot of swinging, so they can't use all their body force in between cars, depending on how much space you have there. So it's more or less, it's not about the best martial art. It's more or less about understanding you have to have some creativity to a degree. You got to learn how to use your environment to your advantage, and that also means there are weapons. A lot of people would say improvised weapons, but to me, an improvised weapon means you got time to create a weapon out of the more materials that you just have around you. And in a fight like that, you don't have time. So I would say improvised weapons are more like you have a little time to put something together, as opposed to a weapons of opportunity, which means you just got something there. There's an opportunity waiting and looking at you. You take that opportunity and do it. So weapons of opportunity are in your environment. You got to take advantage of that, especially if you're dealing with more than one person. It's probably best that you find something to your advantage. If it's just grabbing a handful of dirt and somebody comes and you wait at the right moment to fling the dirt in their face, and hopefully it gets in their eyes, that can kind of incapacitate somebody for a few seconds or permanently. Who knows? If it gets in their eyes real good, then you might have to pick up a cracked bottle from somewhere and use that to your advantage. But also keep in mind that even if the other person doesn't think like that, the moment they see you doing it, then it might spur them to think the same way. So when you're thinking of these things, you got to be strategic and tactical and take people out, which is another part of that. You got to learn how to, with whatever weapons you have opportunity wise to grab, you got to learn how to use it and take these people out to stop, in the sense of stopping them permanently or to a degree to where you can just walk away. But you actually wouldn't be walking away. But the point I'm making is you want to use whatever you have available that is useful to you to take out a person so you can deal with the next one. All right. You ain't got to, and you do it in such a way where you know you don't have to worry about that person. That's one less person to deal with. Now you got, if it's two, and there's just one person you got to deal with the next. If it's three, you got two people to deal with, so on and so forth. So I would look at the situation with multiple attackers is looking at it in that sense. All right. Also, again, there's some other maybe principles per se, or strategies. You got to make sure you're more or less on the ends of the multiple attackers. Try to position yourself to where, and it's not easy to do, but position yourself to where you're dealing with one person and everybody else is kind of lagging behind them, which is not always an easy thing. It's going to require a lot of your movement and how you positioning yourself to the closest person near you, to where you can take advantage of that dynamic. Because another thing is to look at is that each one of those attackers, let's just say it's four people, let's say there's three against you. Now, all three of them guys don't really know what each one of them is going to do to you. So you have that to your advantage, because those guys, one guy doesn't know that one of them is going to take a swing in a certain way, and they might swing the same way, so they might end up hitting each other. So you can take advantage of that. All right. So those are some of the advantages you have dealing with multiple attackers. Okay. And again, like I said, using the environment is another advantage, and can be another advantage for you in the sense of positioning yourself. If you're around areas where there's a lot of trees, you might be able to circle around trees and strike somebody, get out the way, circle around another one, and they got to come around the trees and come around the other person. You position yourself in between cars. The guys got to come around each other. They got to position themselves in order to get you. And so those will put you in some better advantages. All right. So don't look at it in the sense of the best martial art, because there is no best martial art to deal with multiple attackers. Just look at it in the sense of what's available to you, how you can take advantage, thinking the top of your head, being fast on thinking, and weapons of opportunity as well. All right. So that's my answer to your question of what is the one best martial arts that can be used against multiple attackers. All right.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So what you guys think about my response to that question? And what do you think? If you think something different, do you have a better answer? Has this answer helped you guys? You got to let me know. All right. And so with that being said, if you're listening to this show or watching this show on any of the social media platforms, feel free to leave a message below under the video or under on Facebook. I normally put a link to the podcast show, so you can always leave a message under that. On YouTube, you guys can leave a message under the video, and all the podcast platforms, as always, feel free to leave a message with us at Thoughts of the Week Podcast at gmail.com. That's Thoughts of the Week Podcast at gmail.com. There's a lot going on in the background. If you guys hearing some background noise, a lot of emotions going on, you know what I mean? And maybe I'll explain that at another time. All right. So with that being said, when it comes to your personal protection, always remember this: be aware, wash the hands, and have a plan. All right. And I'm out. Peace.